all as well. I know I'm coming to you from a different location. Today I'm actually in my kitchen, and I was just thinking like, okay, I'm getting ready to make some stew and chicken with rice. So why not bring you guys along while I make this dish? This is actually one of the first dishes that I learned how to make when I moved to Ghana. So I figured I'd just take you all with me. If you are new to this space, my name is Nzali. I support Black millennial women in creating the life that they deserve on the African continent. So what better way to introduce the African continent to you than through food? Okay, so this is my Black American remix on this particular dish. All right, so let's go. All right, now we have the chicken, and you know Black folks love to clean our meats. So I'm putting a little lime on there, rubbing it down. I already added some salt. I'm adding the water. I'm rinsing off my meat. You should notice here that in Ghana, they like to chop your meat in kind of like a blocky format to go into the stews. So they don't really separate it by the parts of the chicken per se, but it's more so just like in block format so you can do it. So the chicken is clean, baby. It is ready. I got my pot. You see it's a little old. That's because I cook a lot more now that I live in Africa than I did in the States, because accessibility to fast food is like not the same. So I got my chicken in the pot. I'm going to cut up some onions. And then you'll also see me add some seasonings, all right? So onions are like my favorite thing. I don't know if it's just me or if it's all Black Americans, but I definitely know Africans love onions too. Onions, garlic, ginger, all of that, that's our go-to. I know some people use white onions in their stews. I love purple onions. I don't know why. I'm sure there's some like, I don't know, reason. Maybe it's my blood type. I don't know. But I love purple onions, and I can't get enough of onions. So you'll see a lot of that in this video. So again, we always boil the chicken and cook it a little bit before we actually add it into our stew. So here's the seasoning. I'm adding chili powder. Spice is the thing in West Africa. A little bit more onion powder for like seasoning. It has a little garlic powder in there too. I also am gonna add a little black pepper. Again, spice is king here, and I just can't let go of black pepper because my grandmother cooked with it. And a little Ghana version of Lowry's. It was a little blocked up, so I had to shake it up a little bit to get more of it out. So yeah, it's not that much coming out, so don't be afraid. And a little bit of salt. All right, so last but not least, I have my little Ghana version of the bouillon cube, the chicken cube. So I'm gonna add one of those in there. It's gonna make that broth real nice. Now, if I was making jollof, I would actually save the broth and use that. I'm gonna go ahead and add my little cup of water in there. Water is life. All right, and then we use gas in Ghana. So I'm lighting up my gas stove, being very safe while I do so. Lighting the match before I light the gas. And we just gonna, you know, pop that chicken right on there. Get it going, get those juices going. And now let's move to our base. Okay, so every stew is basically, the red stew is like a tomato base. So you always want to have some really good tomatoes. I got these fresh out of the market the day that I was ready to make this. Also, there's more onions that I will prep, and you'll see exactly where I'm going to use those onions, right? So let me just cut the little skin off. Again, I love purple onions. These are a little small. I don't know what was up in the market that day. Again, you have to wash everything. Everything you must wash because, you know, we have real natural food here. So the bugs love it just as much as you do. Okay, now I'm pulling out these peppers. I don't really know what they call them. I think in the States we call them like habanero peppers. I don't know if they call them here, but they're everywhere in the market. I wash those down. You're gonna see where these peppers are being used too. So as I said, spice is king in West Africa. So in addition to the peppers, you need some garlic. Now, I love garlic too. I feel like garlic goes in every single dish. So I'm probably using a little bit more garlic than most, but I think I'm gonna put about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic in there. Again, they were fresh from the market that day, so I was just peeling them. I also have some ginger here, fresh ginger. I'm gonna peel the skin off. Break it down, and then that will also go into this mixture that's going to make the stew. All right, I think my peeling and chopping skills have like really increased or improved. Look at those wonderful veggies. This stew is about to be off the chain. Look at that ginger. Mwah! I love it. I love it. All the colors. Just beautiful. All right. So these veggies are going to be the base. Now, the first thing I have to do is make my pepper mix or my spice mix. So all of those little peppers you see, I'm just pulling off the stem. I'm going to pop those into my little piece here. This is what I'm going to blend everything up in. Then I'm going to also add the onion. So it's the peppers. You want to chop down some onion. I believe this is about 2.5 of those little small onions. You're going to chop those bad boys up, pop them on in there. Then you're going to put your garlic pieces in there that you just peeled. And then, of course, you're going to add your fresh ginger. So this is the foundational base of spices for everything. You also want to add a little water so it's easier for you to blend. I have a hand blender because I broke my other blender, but I suggest you use like a regular blender. Some people also like to add their dry spices into this, maybe like the rosemary or the thyme, but you know, it just depends on what you like. So I've blended those things up. I like my stew to be a little bit thicker, so I don't blend my spices down to where they're kind of like soupy. I kind of like to leave it, you know, to have a thicker consistency. I feel like it adds the thickness to my stew, and that's how I like it. Of course, you got to clean as you go. Shout out to my mama, Carlene, for teaching me to clean as I cook. So I just wanted to wash those up. Now I'm checking on that chicken. The water has boiled down and it's actually starting to fry the chicken a little bit. And it smells so good. I wish y'all could smell it. So I boiled that chicken down. It looks well good and seasoned, smelling good. And it's actually starting to fry a little bit. So that's just perfect. I'm going to put it to the side. I also have blended my tomatoes. All of those tomatoes, I've blended them to a very smooth consistency. And these pieces together are going to make the sauce. So now the first thing, you put in a cup of oil, add your onions until they get brown. Then you add the spice mix. You're going to fry this down. You're going to fry those spices down. While the spices are frying, then you're going to go in and add some of your dry seasoning. Okay, so I have curry powder, I have rosemary, thyme is somewhere in there, I don't know where it is. You have your bay leaf. You have, this is actually a stew and gravy mix that has a combination of different things, peppers, bay leaf, black pepper, cloves, all of that stuff. Anise seeds, I have it grinded down there. Ginger, coriander. I'm missing my thyme, but I know it's there. So you're gonna add those. We don't measure around here. We just stop when the spirit says stop. You're gonna add those to your spice mixture that is frying. Also, a little Maggi cube is not healthy. I don't suggest it, but I did add it because I live with an African man and he grew up on Maggi, so he won't let me cook without it. So you mix those on in. Mix that up with your spices. Now, the color is about to change. Why? Because you're gonna add some tomato paste. So I've taken 1 scoop of tomato paste. I'm gonna add that to my mixture here, and then I'm gonna mix it up. You see my stew, again, I like it to be a little thick, so I'm definitely adding on the layers here. Now, you know, tomato paste is a bit bitter, but once you fry it down and add a few more of your spices, it's gonna look like this. When the oil starts to come to the top, you know that you fried that well. Now it's time to add your tomato mix. Pour it up, pour it up. Pour it up, pour it up, boom. So I've added that and I'm gonna mix it. Now this is dangerous. If you don't like things that pop, then you may not want to try this one, because once you mix that fresh tomatoes into the spice mix, it's gonna start popping. Okay, now I'm gonna add just a few more of my seasonings here. You see how that oil is gathering at the top? That means this thing is cooking and frying up good. A little bit more curry. I'm gonna add it on in there because that's gonna take out some of the bitterness of the tomato. Now I fried this down for a little bit longer than what you've seen in the video. So now after you fry it down, then it's time for you to add your meat. I'm using chicken, but you can add beef or whatever else you like. If you were going to make jollof, you will want to add the broth. So I've let that fry down, mix down, and look at that chicken in that stew. Look at that bay leaf. Girl, this is something that's going to be good, let me tell you. Again, this is the first thing that I learned. This is the easiest recipe that I've learned since I've been in Ghana. I think anybody can make it, even you. Look at that. It's ready to be had. It is ready to be had. Look at that. Yes. So what you do is just pop this bad boy onto some plain rice, and then boom, you have a meal. Give yourself maybe an hour, hour and a half, and you have a meal that you and your mate can enjoy. So this is just one of those quick recipes out of Ghana. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Comment down below if you have ever had rice stew chicken and rice. If you want to try this for yourself. If you have tried it, how did it go?